Welcome to The Practical Intuitive, where each Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, where host Robin Fritz explores mind, body, and spirit for the real world. Because we are all intuitives and healers, and we must all learn to love ourselves and live that love every day. Robin is a trained and certified intuitive and spiritual consultant and hypnotherapist with an international practice based in Seattle, Washington. As the Practical Intuitive, she covers personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice. It's all here. Readings, healings, and funny, warm, thought-provoking conversations. It's Robin Fritz, the Practical Intuitive, helping you mastermind body and spirit for the real world. No ifs, ands, buts, or BS ever.
Welcome to the Practical Intuitive Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World. I'm Robin Fritz, calling in from about to be very hot Seattle, Washington on Monday, July 31st. So, welcome, and each week on the show I offer short personal, intuitive, or business readings and healings for callers or those who email me, and meditations and conversations with guests. So today, if you would like to join us live with a question or comment or request for a short reading, it's 202-570-7057. Or you can email me at my website, Robin, R-O-B-Y-N, at robinfritz.com, ROBYNFRITZ.com. So, welcome, and the premise of my work and of my radio show here at OMTimes.com is so that you can help yourself love yourself and tap your natural, intuitive, and healing abilities. I want everybody to live a full, satisfying, fun life, because you matter, your work in the world matters, and I don't care what you're doing, it matters to us. So today we're going to welcome Aubrey Wallace, a naturopath and medical intuitive who practices in the state of Washington and is also available by Skype. And we are going to talk about medical intuition and how medical intuition and intuitive development support wellness. Before I bring her on the show, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I have noticed in my practice, something that all of us need to focus on. But first, I would like to welcome you with a guided meditation with a crystal that I work with. He's a crystal ball, and his name is Fallon, the citrine Lemurian quartz. And no, I don't name anyone in my family. They tell me their names. So if you would like to sit back and relax in your chair, I promise you will experience Fallon's energy over the radio waves, whether you're listening live or in the archives. You'll experience him however you experience your intuition. So if you see, hear, feel, or simply know what's happening intuitively, you will be able to connect with him in this brief meditation. He is a very rare ancient power crystal, a healer, and a truth bringer. So take a deep breath, sit back in your chair, and as you breathe in healthy, positive energy, feel your gut expand with that, and as you exhale, just release what doesn't serve you. And as you breathe in and exhale. And now if you take your attention to the top of your head, we're connecting mind, body, and spirit more closely together, starting at your crown chakra, breathing down your face, your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your hips, your knees, and your feet. The top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And now, as you're concentrating on your feet, imagine Fallon, this clear quartz with a slight amber color, this is a citrine, rotating at your feet And as he rotates, he moves up your body on the outside, sending your body feeling warm, healing energy moving up from your feet to your knees, to your hips, your solar plexus, your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your face, your third eye, and your crown chakra wide open. And as you feel that gold light flood into your body, feel it spreading from your heart, and with each beat of your heart, just flooding your body with warmth and connection. And know that he'll be connected with us all through this hour. So as we get into the show today, I want to again invite anyone who'd like to call us for a brief medical intuition reading, in particular today, 202-570-7057. But here's something in line of our talking about medical intuition and intuitive development. I've noticed in my practice that many people are so focused on what they call the spiritual aspect of intuitive development that they end up forgetting their body. So they're either in their heads or the crown chakra, the third eye, which is your intuitive development, your crown chakra wide open. You're up there floating around and eager to connect with your spiritual team or whatever wants to connect with you, and you're focusing, learning about or experience your intuition right in your head. And what happens is people get disconnected from their bodies. And, that's the focus of my show, mind, body, spirit for the real world. So intuition and healing are natural abilities that we all have. And to really develop them, we need to realize that they're all connected, mind, body, and spirit. So whether my clients are coming to me for reading or mentoring or spiritual service like soul progression clearing, which I did a webinar on last week, you're welcome to view, or past life regression or energy healing, they're in their heads. So what I want you to think about today is putting your intuition and your healing into your body. And as we get into this in future shows, I want to emphasize practical things like experiencing intuition in your body and how that connects with overall intuitive development. So if you'd like to play along today, one of the things I would like you to think about is getting yourself a notebook where you keep actual charts and notes on your intuitive development, so that instead of going, wow, is this me or something else, you will know right away that whatever you're experiencing intuitively or healing wise is real. So sometimes people are, like me, they're clair-knowing, so they just know things intuitively. They also see things, that's clairvoyance, hear clairaudience, or feel clairsentience. But when you're developing your intuition, you bring in all of these intuitive senses, and particularly as you're initially developing them. So one of the things I like people to do is a technique I called modified biofeedback, which we can get into perhaps in this show, but I also teach in my workshops and webinars. But another exercise that I call the oranges and bananas exercise. And this everyone can do, and you don't even have to take notes on it. And it will really help you understand where your intuition lies in your body. And that will be important as we get into the conversation with Dr. Wallace here in a bit about medical intuition, which actually will look at what's going on in your body from an intuitive perspective that you might not be aware of, and offer suggestions that you can tap into to promote your own personal wellness. So what I tell people to do is to just walk into the grocery store. This exercise is going to cost you a couple dollars. That's it. You walk into the produce section and you go for the first fruit that really appeals to you and the first one that really does not appeal to you. So that's why I call it oranges and bananas. So you go into the store and you may be immediately drawn to a banana. That's something you want to eat. And you may look around and you'll see an orange and you go, nope, don't want an orange, doesn't appeal to me at all. So that's where you buy both of them, an orange and a banana. And then you take them home and you sit down with your notebook, okay? And you write down banana, okay? And then I want you to take a look at the banana. Just look at it physically and touch it, rub your hands over it, feel the skin, notice the shape, notice the color, notice if it's greenish or fully yellow or has brown spots on it. Then I want you to peel it back and eat it. And this is the one, okay, that we'll say that you really wanted. And as you eat it, I want you to notice all of the sensations that you're experiencing in your body. The taste of it, how it makes your saliva kick in, how it feels in your stomach. And then make notes of that. And then later you're going to go back to that and figure out what about it intuitively appealed to you. So it may be that your intuition is visually oriented in the banana appealed to you visually, or sense-wise, the taste, or you just knew that it was appropriate for you, the smell of it, whatever. And do the same thing with the orange. So you've got that orange skin, you've got the citrus oils, you peel it, you've got that white stuff, whatever it is, around the orange, and then the juice of the actual orange, and go through the whole process of eating it and making notes about how it struck you. So what was it about that orange that you didn't want in the beginning, and what are you noticing now? So when clients come to me after doing this exercise, what they'll say is, wow, I really didn't like an orange and I knew I wouldn't like the orange, and I could tell, and I started to realize that and for some people it's literally a gut feeling, and I hate to use that word because a lot of people think intuition is a gut feeling, and it's not necessarily. Some people will notice a little pain in their elbow or a tweak in their shoulder when they're having an intuitive experience, and that's part of your body cluing you in that your intuition and your healing abilities are notifying you that something is up. And that's how you learn to pay attention to the signals your intuition is giving you. And we've been cut off from these. So whatever your intuition is trying to talk to you about is floating around in the ether and not getting through to you, which means that you're not as developed as you could be, and not really getting the full benefit of either your intuition or your natural healing abilities. So try the oranges and bananas exercise, whatever fruits appeal to you in the store, and email me with your responses. Email me with what you learned, because it sounds really simple, and it is, but you'll learn an awful lot. So we'll be back after the break.
Conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Change and growth are part of natural life and also part of your spiritual life. Everyone needs support and guidance, especially during life passages. Upgrade yourself with the OMTimes Experts program. With OMTimes Experts, you have access to the best intuitive coaches, spiritual teachers, counselors, astrologists, and oracles. Our team was carefully selected so you can trust. Find out more at experts.omtimes.com.
This segment of The Practical Intuitive is brought to you by Terry Kent of AmberstonePets.com. Years ago, Terry struggled with fleas and ticks on her 4 dogs but ruled out pesticides. Then she heard about raw Baltic amber. A fossilized tree resin, raw Baltic amber has been used for years in Europe to protect cats and dogs from fleas and ticks. Terry founded AmberstonePets.com 8 years ago to offer safe, organic, and beautiful pet collars that naturally repel fleas and ticks. How? The amber's aromatic properties are released into the pet's coat and spread by body oils from friction and body heat. The collars are available in several styles for cats and dogs, from kittens and puppies to giant breeds. Visit AmberstonePets.com, choose raw Baltic amber collars for your pets, and enter OMTimes at checkout for free shipping. Order today at AmberstonePets.com.
I'm Fidel Nshambo. I was born in a city called Bukavu in the Congo. We were a loving family, and then, boom, everything that I had disappeared in a single day. People think that when you are a refugee and they resettle you to America, and all your problems are done. They don't understand that that's the beginning of everything. I was not born a refugee. I was made one.
It's time we welcome refugee families with open arms. Learn more at embracerefugees.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Practical Intuitive Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World. My name's Robin Fritz. I'm an intuitive and spiritual consultant and certified past life regression specialist in Seattle, Washington. And today we're talking about medical intuition, intuitive development, and how they support our wellness. And I was just talking about my oranges and bananas exercise. In other shows, we're going to talk about a process I teach people that I call modified biofeedback. And we're going to talk about energy boundaries, how we don't have energy boundaries and how we can get them. And I'll certainly be doing webinars on that coming up here. But today we have as our guest Aubrey Wallace, a naturopath and a medical intuition expert. So I'd like to bring her on live here and have her talk to us about medical intuition. Welcome, Dr. Wallace.
Thank you, Robin.
Hey, great to hear from you today. Are you hot up there yet?
Yes, it's pretty hot up on our end, too.
We're wimps here in Seattle. Dr. Wallace is based north of Seattle, Washington, and we're all waiting for a heat wave this week. So, Dr. Wallace, talk to us. Tell us what medical intuition is.
Okay. Well, medical intuition generally is a form of intuition in which the body is scanned and any medical issues are detected via intuitive means. My form of medical intuition is a little different since I am a medical doctor, a naturopathic medical doctor.
Right.
I have already been trained in diagnostics, so I can use my mind for diagnosis often. So my medical intuition uses my intuition to get underneath the diagnosis towards the main causal factors that are leading to that illness.
Okay, so give us an example.
Sure.
Actually, you're welcome to go ahead.
So any illness, I don't know, maybe pick one. Can you think of an illness off the top of your head?
Well, I'm just thinking back to the session you did for me now, and briefly that, and I know we have a caller on the line that we can do an actual session on, but I think what really amazed me about medical intuition, and I know that those of us who practice as intuitives do look at the body. I see blockages in people. I remove them on an energetic basis. But medical intuition is obviously a lot more involved. And with you as a medical professional, I know when we were talking about discussing medical intuition on the show, I was very ill this winter, really for 3 months with this cough and high fever and then 2 rounds of bronchitis. And it took me 3 months to get over it. And then I thought I was well. And then you did a quick medical intuition session on me and found out that I was wrong. So explain that to people a little bit, because it was a real eye-opener for me, and I think it's a very easy example to explain to people how you help somebody progress further in their healing even when they thought they were better.
Absolutely. So oftentimes our bodies are pretty amazing, and they try to keep us going through the day. And in any given day, they're being impacted by all sorts of things. So the main things that I look for in medically and intuitively include virus infections, bacterial infections, toxic chemicals that come into the body or other toxins, allergies that you have to your environment, things that are hitting you from there, structural issues, so anything from DNA issue to physical muscular issues to chemical issues. All of those things are going on at any given moment in your body. And it's kind of amazing, I think, that we feel the way we do most of the time, given how many factors we're dealing with. But in the example that you gave, oftentimes, when the body has an infection, which is the main thing we had talked about, oftentimes it's an infection from a long time ago, most often, that your body has taken care of to a certain level, but hasn't been able to completely clear out of the body. So every time your energetics or your system gets run down a little bit, that particular virus or bacteria has an opportunity to move up and kind of thrive in that environment for a little while. So unless we can really get in and get it all the way out, even if you feel better, you'd be more likely to have it recur. And what I see is a lot of people will have kind of cycles with the viruses. Well, they'll have, they'll get sick in the winter, or they'll get sick when their energy wanes a little bit. Mm-hmm. So that's a good example.
Well, too, and then what you discovered was I hadn't completely cleared that out, so we did this, got this round of homeopathics and herbs to support that. And I think what's really cool, because you're also a naturopath, you knew the things that I needed. But the other thing that, people may realize is that, we have partnerships with our medical team. So I have several people on my medical team, and my primary doctor is a functional medicine doctor. So she already was, saying, take this herbal supplement, on top of this to get rid of this virus kind of thing and to, support your system. And that still wasn't enough. So here's a great example of bringing in someone with your particular ability to okay, let's do the body scan. And guess what? You need this on top of whatever else they're dealing with. And that was a particular illness, but just in our daily lives, we get run down from running around all day long and not resting properly and not taking time to play and maybe not eating right. So it's another great example.
Absolutely. And then the other part with the intuitive work, which is why I enjoy working with you so much, is that oftentimes there are these other factors that do impact health, including ancestry and including past lives and different energetic things that are getting stuck or things that we're dealing with in the energetic jungle. And if those are the main causal issues causing the imbalance, then those have to be addressed. And functional medicine is amazing, but it has a hard time. It doesn't even address those aspects. It addresses the chemistry and the infection and the toxins and that level. So
yes, and that's where you come in, and that's where sometimes we do see things. I know when you're talking about like past lives, people are saying, well, I have an illness, or I have this, or I have that, and I know. I don't know if I've shared this on my show before, but I've been handicapped for many years, had a foot rebuilt, and it didn't heal properly. But I also got really ill, and I noticed, and I'll bring this up in other shows, but what I noticed, I was having spontaneous past life regressions, and I could see lifetimes going back 500 years with the same issues I was dealing with and finally conquered in this lifetime. So your skill set is amazing for people to realize that you may be still clearing out things from either earlier in this life or past lives, And this kind of work, this medical intuition work, can find that, or come to me and I can find the past life element, but you're the one that provides the solutions with the homeopathics and herbs and other things that you use in your practice, including, all the things that you can tap in as a naturopath. But we're getting close to the break here, and we do have a caller. So is our caller still on the line? Would you like to bring her in?
Absolutely. If they can.
Yes.
Let's see how we can. Melanie, hi,
Yes.
welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you all?
We are good. We are good. So
Good.
what's up with you today, Melanie?
Well, I was very interested in understanding a little bit about the medical intuitive part. I'm having some questions about my celiac disease. I've had celiac for quite some time in my life, and I've done a lot of different things with my diet to, help ease some of the symptoms, but I've never really, posed or asked a question about, what was the causal purpose, and I'm very curious about that. So
let's turn Dr. Wallace loose on you, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
Arms wide open,
Hello,
Dr. Wallace. So go ahead
Thank you.
and let's try tapping in here a little bit to Melanie and see what's happening.
All right. Hello, Melanie.
Hello.
Thank you for calling in. So I have already been tapping in a little bit to what in particular, into your celiac issue. And the primary thing I see for you actually has to do with toxic environment. In particular, you may want to look for, see if I'm going to scan some things down here, chemical. The primary one I get for you actually is an energetic thing that's in your environment that is causing you some toxic reaction. And it feels like that would be important for you to continually clear yourself energetically. So energetic hygiene would be very important for you. I also, there is hygiene. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am. But I did have a question about the what do you mean by toxic environment?
Absolutely. So usually when I get a series of numbers when I'm reading someone, and the number I got for you was 2 and 4 were the primary ones. And 2 usually has to do with environmental exposures or things in your environment that can be toxic to you. And there are many things potentially, but I don't feel chemical is a very strong one for you, and I don't feel, there's a little bit of a heavy metal potential issue in there, but the main one that I feel is this kind of sense of your environment kind of hitting your system energetically, and that there's a need for you to clear that energy off of you in order to not feel invaded. It's kind of the feeling I'm getting. And then the primary issue I do see for you is 4, which is structural. And I think there may be a genetic component there that needs to be addressed. So it does feel to me, usually when you have a structural and a genetic component, unless we figure out how to magically shift your DNA, which I still believe is possible, that would be a good idea to maintain a strict diet.
Thank
you.
Hang
on, both of you. We'll be back after the break.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose. to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Join Vibe Nation radio host, international psychic medium Carrie Turcotte, as she guides her listeners to rediscover themselves by accessing the keys of knowledge that already exist within. Each week's show is divinely orchestrated to intertwine with the universal energies, allowing the listeners to go deeper within. At the end of each show, Carrie will tap into the energies of the listeners and give a message from Spirit about the upcoming week. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, join Carrie each Monday at 3 p.m. on Vibe Nation Radio.
This segment of The Practical Intuitive is brought to you by Aubrey Wallace, ND. Whether you have a chronic health issue or simply want to feel your best and be your best, consider an appointment with Dr. Aubrey Wallace, a naturopathic physician and medical intuitive with an international practice near Seattle, Washington. A third-generation healer, Dr. Wallace uses her extensive training and an intuitive approach to help her patients find what's really keeping them from the healthy, balanced lives they deserve. Her compassionate approach treats the whole patient, body, mind, and spirit, using therapies from homeopathic medicines to energy healing. She helps you as her patient to love being you. Dr. Wallace works in person or by Skype. Learn more about her work at lovebeingyou.info. Mention this ad and receive 15% off a medical intuition session. That's Dr. Aubrey Wallace at lovebeingyou.info.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14.
31? 13?
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted. He realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Practical Intuitive Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World. It's Robin Fritz here in Seattle, Washington, and I have today Dr. Aubrey Wallace, naturopath and medical intuitive, talking about medical intuition and wellness issues. And we also have a caller on the line, Melanie, who's talking about celiac disease. Okay, so one thing that, Dr. Wallace, I'd like you to explain to our listeners, and I also have some insight to add to Melanie. She got both of us today. But when you talked about the numbers and you talked about the process, so when you do a body scan, do you always start at the top of the head and work down? And how do you explain how the numbers work?
Absolutely. So my full intuitive readings, actually, I just draw an entire map of the energy field that helps me get into every little detail. But with the miniature readings or mini readings, I've learned to streamline it down to about 8 factors that I find impact almost everyone's health. And so now my guidance just gives me very quickly the main numbers of which areas to look in, and then I can kind of look into that window, so to speak, of which aspect of health is being impacted by that area.
Awesome. And then did I miss the numbers explanation?
Well, so each number, the way I actually jokingly call it my window of health, but cool. I draw myself a window, and my numbers go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, obviously around the window. And then, so for example, with Melanie, I got 2, 4, 1, 3 on her, and 4 is the primary issue for her, and 1 is the primary thing contributing to her 4. So the 2 for me is the toxic environmental exposure. The 4 is the structural or genetic component. So that's the main one I'd work with her. And then 1 is actually infection, and I feel there's a virus involved with her that actually contributed to that structural issue for her. And and then 3 is allergies. So she really got all of the main physical components involved in this particular illness. Yeah.
Whammied, huh?
Yes, she did. And that doesn't mean that she doesn't have the other factors. The other factors include stress, ancestral issues, and mental, emotional, so belief structures, and also the category I call other, because that's something either past life or an entity or something else that I'm not sure about until I check in. So her stayed in the physical realm for me.
Okay. So Melanie also got me on this call. And when you mentioned the silly, are you still here, Melanie?
Yes. I'm listening and observing and taking in. It's all cool information.
Yeah, okay. So you also got me on this, and here's a couple observations that I had that clicked in from my intuitive quick check-in with you. Past life issues relating to starvation and previous lifetimes as a very powerful, what you would call witch or wizard. You know, what we don't like to use those words these days. And so a lot of people would call it shamanic, but persecution for being a very powerful, intuitive, and healer in previous lifetimes, combined with starvation, and that starvation factor carried forward in a fear of eating. Because, okay, so I know this, I don't mean to scare you, but it was like, there were a lot of us who had lifetimes where we were persecuted for being different than other people because of the things that we could do in the world. And a lot of it because we were healers and, practicing using herbs and stuff to help people get over illnesses. But having been persecuted and then locked up and starved, that is kind of stuck in your DNA, so to speak, as almost a fear of food. And I don't know, Dr. Wallace, how that would translate into what you might suggest for her.
Well, when you were talking, I noticed when I'm looking at what I've drawn on my page here, and I noticed that the toxic environment portion kind of lit up for me while you were talking about that. It seemed like the environment may have actually been a past environment that she's been carrying energetically. The genetic piece too, they were giving me a lot of specific detail. My guidance was giving me a lot of specific detail on the breakdown and the loosening up of the jejunum portion of the intestines in particular. And there's this feeling of not holding stability, that there's a weakening of that area. That also lit up when you were saying the aspect of the DNA, the starvation, and it almost felt as if the jejunum itself was starving or not being able to hold its integrity up from the attack. Yeah.
So Melanie, what do you think about this? How does this resonate with you?
Well, I truly think it's fascinating, and what's really interesting is that I don't really know too much, anatomy-wise when it comes to the body, but I do know that when Dr. Wallace was speaking about the jejunum, I could feel my stomach loosening, like becoming like loosening and changing, and then. When, is
that a good thing for you?
It is very good, and it's good that I'm home because I'm close to the bathroom. Hallelujah. And but the other thing is Robin, when you were speaking, this is very interesting because I've never thought of it, from that sense of starvation, which that would make, I don't know why it makes sense, but it feels like what you're saying resonates. It feels like there's a resonation. And there's also a feeling of, the thing about powerful witch, wizard or that of some sort. That's a very many different interesting perspectives because I've heard that a couple of times. And actually, I've had asthmatic bronchitis once in my life cleared by addressing a past life as a witch. So this is quite fascinating, from both of you, and especially about the issue with the jejunum, because I never even thought about addressing that area. So that's very interesting. The only question that I have is, with Dr. Wallace, what do you suggest around working with it, feeling invaded energetically? What are some things that I can do, to help with that or balance that from both you or Robin? Because when you were speaking about that, I did feel that also in my stomach as well as my throat. So very, very interesting. This is very interesting.
Go ahead, Dr. Wallace.
Thank you. Celiac disease is actually a disease in which the breakdown of the small intestine causes a starvation of the body, and the body actually is unable to feed itself. So the small intestine is the primary place where we absorb nutrients into our body. So if celiac continues, people actually starve to death even though they're eating. I would guess then this is the primary. Yes, that's directly on. And in this case, the feeling of it being invaded and attacked, the body is attacking itself in this case. But I would say to go for the past life here. That seems like the most direct route to getting that energy of attack at the self out of the body. And then that will address the starvation issue automatically. Because if you can regrow your small intestine, you'll be able to absorb nutrients.
Wow.
Exactly. Wow. I hope we didn't scare you there, Melanie.
No, but no. This was so clarifying, to hear, because this actually just helps address so many things, how I'm digesting my emotions, how I'm digesting and taking in energy. This is very clarifying to me. So, thank you.
And that's great. Yes. And I would add to that, I know I've seen past lives of my own where I was persecuted for the abilities that I'm making a living off these days. And there is that fear of, being persecuted again. Nowadays, they can just laugh at us, and that's easier than being killed, right? But maybe, because there are various ways of dying, and being, laughed to death could be one of them. But being invaded energetically brings up the whole issue of really solid energy boundaries, which is extremely important for anyone. And when you have a health issue, and I know from my health issues and watching my family grow, that fixing and repairing the energy boundaries is really an essential first step. So on top of what Dr. Wallace would suggest for, supplements or things that can help boost you and help clear things out that she's noticed, the other thing would be really working on energy boundaries. And I know that my partner Fallon and I created this technique of looking at energy boundaries individually with people, because we are individuals. But to start imagining yourself as being protected and safe with your spiritual team beside you, and I know you have spirit guides, everybody does, but making at least one of them really primary in connecting with you. So we'll be back for a quick wrap up, but thank you for joining us, Melanie. And you know how to get a hold of Dr. Wallace to continue talking with her about this issue.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Humanity Healing International is a small nonprofit with a big dream. Since 2007, HHI has been working tirelessly to bring help to communities with little or no hope. Our projects are not broad mandates, nor are they overnight solutions, but they bring the reassurance that no one is alone and that someone cares. To learn more, please visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Hi, I'm Kelly Fox, host and astrologer of The Astrology Show. Each week, I'll give you access to the current transits, which are a valuable tool that provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has. Understanding the stars can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, be sure to tune in to The Astrology Show for guidance. Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
This segment of The Practical Intuitive is brought to you by Rosie Gremmert at ICanDoHardThings.com. When was the last time nothing was holding you back, physically or emotionally, from the good you want to do for yourself and for the world? If you want to feel great and make it last, Rosie Gremmert will use her decades of experience and expertise as a certified essential oil therapist, certified holistic health coach, and certified grief support specialist. To create the best version of you, just email Rosie at ICanDoHardThings.com and put OMTimes in the subject line. You'll get access to Rosie's exclusive I Can Do Hard Things 30-Day Courage Dare and get 25% off all purchases. That's Rosie at ICanDoHardThings.com.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it, and you can hear it repeatedly without feeling anything. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural or inborn response from you. Save the food, because 40% of all food in the US never gets eaten. Save the food. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com, brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Practical Intuitive Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World. It's Robin Fritz. I'm an intuitive and spiritual consultant and past life regression specialist in Seattle. And we're just wanted to bring Dr. Wallace back briefly to thank you for joining with us today, and telling listeners that Dr. Wallace is offering 15% off medical intuition readings if you tell her you're coming from OMTimes. So, Dr. Wallace, can you just tell us quickly how people can find you?
Absolutely. Thank you, Robin, for having me on the show. My best way to find me is, me too, is online, probably www.lovebeingyou.info, or you can call our office in Everett at 425-595-5892.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us today. And also thank our caller, Melanie, for joining in and sticking with us. That was really a fascinating session. So thank you, Dr. Wallace, and we'll look forward to you joining us next month. So moving on, I would like to remind people of, again, the question of medical intuition, intuitive wellness, and our energy boundaries. And I will be talking about this in future shows and certainly doing webinars on the whole issue of how we protect ourselves energetically, how we walk through our days, tapping and using our natural, intuitive, and healing abilities. But as we wrap up for today, I just want to give you some information on things that are coming up here. First of all, you can always contact me at my website, robinfritz.com, ROBYNFRITZ.com, and find the variety of intuitive and spiritual services I offer, including personal and business intuitive readings, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, between life regression, spiritual awakening, spiritual journeys, a variety of shamanic modalities, my own technique of soul progression clearing, energy healing, and private mentoring workshops and talks. So, and I also offer 15, 30, and 60-minute intuitive sessions. And people sometimes buy an hour's package and then call me in 15-minute increments. But I'd like to point you to my great delight in being part of the OMTimes Experts community, and to join me at the Experts platform at experts.omtimes.com/RobinFritz. I have 3 webinars up, finally learned how to do webinars. So you can go there, and I have 2 webinars up for free. Meet the Practical Intuitive, which is what you can expect from working with me and how I work, which is quite different from what other intuitives are doing. And a webinar on a technique that I created called Soul Progression Clearing. It's a healing and clearing technique that uses intuitive insight, my own take on various shamanic and hypnotherapy modalities. And the purpose is to remove attachments or blocks from this or previous lifetimes that keep you from becoming your best self, and then filling you back up with energy healing. So as you see from our caller today, we have issues in this current lifetime, celiac disease, that we also saw threads going back to previous lifetime. That's the kind of thing we want to help you clear out so that you can really be your best self, because I promise you the world needs each and every one of us to be at our best. There's also up at experts.omtimes.com/RobinFritz my paid webinar, How to Meet and Greet Your Spirit Guide, and you'll be able to have a really wonderful meditation taking you to a safe place where you'll receive a gift from your guide, and then an opportunity during that meditation to get to know your personal guide. And it's also going to give you a heads up on what to look out for in spirit guides, because they're learning just like we are, and sometimes they make mistakes just like we do. So it's important in our relationship to monitor them, to keep them on the job 24/7. And if you're doing work like I am, or Dr. Wallace, or anyone especially is working out there in the intuitive realms, be sure you have a really powerful spirit guide at your beck and call, so to speak. So I'd also like to give you a heads up on upcoming webinars. It's August, right? And it's play month a little bit here. So I'm doing a couple of things with animal communication this month. On Thursday, August 10th at 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern, we're going to have a quick little free webinar on tips and things that I want you to do to get ready for an animal communication class. So join me live on that on August 10th, and we'll have some back and forth questions, but really some things I want you to practice on in the coming week, because on Thursday, August 17th, we'll have a paid webinar on animal communication and our animal families. So we're going to do real basic animal communication techniques and talk to one of your family members. So yes, you'll actually communicate with one of your family members and really believe what you get. And I know the first animal communication class, I was so eager to talk to my Cavalier King Charles Spaniel Murphy, and I was expecting answers to the great mysteries of the universe. And I said, Murphy, what would you like to talk to me about today? What would you like to ask me? And she said, more cookies, please. So that's when you know you're really communicating with your animals. So it'll be fun, Thursday, August 17th, and Thursday, August 24th, again at 4 Pacific time. All of these are at 4 Pacific time. A paid webinar where I'm actually going to help you experience a past life regression. So as you listening today to me realizing that part of Melanie's situation involved a past life, we're going to experience a fun past life together in this and learn various techniques of doing past life regression. So every Tuesday, please join me at 11 Pacific time at the OMTimes magazine page on Facebook for Coffee and Cosmos with Robin at Facebook Live. So next week, chiropractor Winfield Hobbs will help me continue the discussion on intuition and wellness by explaining how chiropractic care can support mind, body, and spirit. So Dr. Hobbs has been a practicing chiropractor and a very, very smart, kind, gentle man. So join us next week and email questions that you might have for him about intuition and chiropractic care, and we'll delve in that together. So as we get close to ending today, I'd like to invite you to email me with questions and comments. I sometimes receive those after the shows with people who are too shy or the situation is too personal to share publicly. I totally get that. But today, let's end with a healing with a goddess. I call her Connie. She has a completely different and very ancient name. But in particular for our caller today and Dr. Wallace and all of us at OMTimes here, take your palms of your hands and rub your palms together and notice how they feel warm. Now, a lot of people can expand that and feel a ball of energy, but if you're like me, you can't, so don't panic. But do understand that energy does kind of rotate in and out of the palms of our hands. So cross your palms together and place them on your heart and just take some deep breaths in. And as you breathe in that healthy energy into the palms of your hand, then bring your palms up to your face and breathe. Just breathe air into your palms and imagine that it's energy of the universe that you're just offering back to the universe, and then hold your palms out in front of you, just offering that energy. It's sentient, it's alive, it knows what it's doing. Just wish it well on its journey to wherever it needs to go. Then put your palms back on your heart. Breathe deeply at real healthy positive vibration. Breathe into your palms. And know that you are powerful, you are loved, you are needed in the universe, and we can't do without you. Breathe into your palms and then put those palms back on your heart. This will ground you and balance you back, clearing out that wide open chakra from dealing with Fallon today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Monday at 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern. It's Robin Fritz signing out for today.